Hello, hello. In this video, I'm going to be looking at two LEGO Marvel Avengers sets. Over on the left is the Thanos mech, and it does come with a full, actual, real minifigure inside there. We'll take a closer look at that as well. And on the right is obviously the Iron Man mech, which is kind of a funny concept, but there is an actual Iron Man in full suit minifigure inside of this mech as well. Again, these are separate sets, and I'm going to look at Iron Man first. This has fundamentally the same basic build as all of the mechs in this series that they've come out with for this year. A couple that I've shown previously and others that certainly will be coming out in the future. The arc reactor piece right there with the 1x2 cheese slope is a printed piece. Not the best printing on that, but at least it is a print. Everything else that looks like a decoration on the body of the mech is a sticker. So over here on the shoulder, that is a sticker. Also the top of foot details that we saw down there, those are stickers, and on the shoulders as well up top, those are stickers. As I mentioned, there is a full minifig inside of there, and as you turn this around to the side, you can see that, but it doesn't stand out too much. I did leave the blast pieces, the energy blast pieces in his hands, just for the sake of convenience, but if you leave those out, it's even more difficult to see, that there actually is a figure in there from the side unless you're looking up close. This also has a cannon up top, the energy blaster thing. You can rotate it. I forget if there's a canonical name for this, but you can turn it side to side, and you can also angle it up and down. So it has some range there. And this is a tile shooter. There are 3 1x1 round tiles in there, and you just grab this from here, push with another finger, and those will shoot out. If you're careful, you can shoot one at a time, but the easiest thing to do is just to fire off all 3 of them in a single burst. As far as articulation, all of these have the same articulation. They have the same joints. So for legs, look at that. You can go full forward and full back. These are all ball joints. So not only can you go straight forward and back, you can also splay. You can slightly rotate within there as well. The knees have a lot of hey, first of all, it has knees. That's revolutionary for LEGO these days. This one's actually able to go fully to 90 degrees. And again, you have a little bit of side-to-side range there. And then down at the ankles, these can also be turned side to side in addition to rotating in and out and going forward to back. So there's all sorts of stuff you can do there. The shoulders are ball joints that are arranged in just about the best way they possibly can be. Fairly free, so there's lots you can do there. You can bring the hand all the way across the chest, which is kind of a benchmark for me for good joint design. It's not something that you see all the time. It's not a given, to be able to bring an arm across the chest of a figure. That's something that I consider to be good. And then you also have the fingers here, which can individually articulate. And I think the spacing of these fingers is pretty good because you can make some pretty expressive kind of looks. Like that clearly looks like he's pointing, but then if I just loosen this up a little bit, then it's more like, hey, hey, I just feel like the spacing there and this use of these Exoforce arms in particular is really good. You can leave off this inverted tile if you want, and then you can stick studded things onto that. I don't like this sticking out right here, this extra axle, but you can clip things to that if you have accessories that can be clipped. And then there is waist articulation. It is limited, but there is some there, which is great. And you can also open this up to get access to where the figure goes in, and he does not get attached with any studs. Just gets the little plate in the middle of the panel piece down there, stuck between the legs, which is very convenient and simple and easy. So there's plenty that you can do articulation wise. I don't like that little bit of blue there, but it's not that big of a deal. And it just kind of makes sense, I would say, overall in its design. What I like the least about this certainly is just this, basically the trigger plunger mechanism. And if you don't like the look of that, but you do want to have the cannon back here or up here, blaster thing, just leave this out before you put the tiles in, or don't even put the tiles in at all. That's pretty much it for this one. Let's take a closer look at the figure though. This is interesting to me in that it is a new depiction of an Iron Man suit using the classic Iron Man helmet. but it's his normal color scheme and everything, and it feels like I don't know, a pretty good compromise. I actually like the print that they have on that helmet or mask, and I haven't been the biggest fan of that piece. In some cases it doesn't work so well, but here I think it actually works out surprisingly well. Just to me, just looking at it from a distance, just the shaping kind of works for me. And then the printing going through the hips and the legs is good, although it's not lined up properly right down the center. You can see that the hip print should have been shifted over to the left a bit on this one. That may just be a production variation. And though this is not strictly from the MCU, they do put the modern live action version of Tony Stark head under there, which I think still works for animated stuff and game related stuff as well. And then here are just the leftover spare parts from that set, including an entire extra set of the shots for the weapon. In the Mighty Micros line, LEGO did a Thanos car. Now they've got a Thanos mech. Now, is this supposed to represent truly a mech for him? A robotic construct that he is inside of? Or is it kind of an expansion of him? Is this trying to be like a cyborg version of him? Because, the gauntlet is on the mech itself. So I don't know. I don't know enough about the lore to determine if there's any spot where this really fits in and makes sense from a canonical perspective. But honestly, I don't really care, and I don't think most of the target audience of the set would care about that. It's just, it's Thanos, and he's big. He's like a lot bigger than a regular minifig version of him, and it's different than a big fig version of him, especially in the fact that this can actually articulate, where a big fig can move an arm up and down, yay, and rotate a hand, yay. This can do all kinds of stuff. You can, again, bring the arm across the chest. He can look like he's serenading someone, like he's singing out to Juliet or to Rapunzel up in a tower or something. He's got the same articulation again as the other one, is able to rotate at the waist, and all this is able to move in different ways. Get that again to the full 90 degrees there. You can stand on just one foot like this. You can always find a way to get it to balance. He's got a pretty heavy hand over there, but that works. It's not the most pretty looking pose, but it is doable. There's enough friction in each of these joints. Now I want to put a guitar in his hands, or a electric bass in his hands, and just be shredding, head banging. There's just so much that you can do with these, and they encourage you, with their very existence and their silliness in some ways, to use your imagination and to come up with fun things and funny things to do with them. Just, at least in my opinion, these are not things to be taken too seriously. The gauntlet is done pretty well. Look at how much articulation you have for the fingers, the individual phalanges of the fingers themselves. That's pretty cool, I think. And then, of course, you can attach things to each of those. The only one that I don't like so much is the little finger over here, the pinky finger. It's just not able to angle quite how I would like it to. Wish it was able to get in a little bit closer there, or rotate in a bit, but it's not bad. And yeah, you can grab stuff with this. They do give you the full set of gems. They're just basic tiles, but I do appreciate those. For stickers, this one has four of that exact sticker right there. So one on each arm, one on each upper leg. The upper arms and upper legs are built identically, or rather, actually, this is the lower arm. Technically, this is upper arm, lower arm, and then the upper leg. They have identical builds, which seems weird, but it works just fine. That's a print. That's a cool print. I like it. And then once again, just bring this down to open it up. This one is a little bit limited here, but you still have plenty of room to get in there and put the figure in place. And it doesn't have to be perfectly placed or anything. It just needs to be kind of pushed back there. And of course, now I'm doing it wrong. No. I've lost all credibility just now. My apologies. You can unsubscribe. There, I got it back. Quick, subscribe again. Wait, this is off. Okay, now we're good. So this is the new helmeted Thanos figure, and I mean, he doesn't have to be helmeted, right? But it's nice to get him with the helmet. I don't think this is a particularly fantastic looking figure, just because he's so small. I'm so used to him being in big fig form now that it feels very awkward to see him as just a normal sized figure. I wish that Lego had something, some system that they had developed to show figures, to show humanoid characters with minifig parts just larger, just taller. Some longer legs or leg extensions, something that was standardized that would work for that. As it is, I think it's fine. I feel like there could be some more detail in that printing, though. The whole thing doesn't satisfy me fully. I think the helmet's pretty cool, but here's another thing that I find a little bit disappointing. This is a helmeted version, and yet they only give us one face. I guess the good thing about that is that you can leave the helmet off, so you can have him just bald, but then you don't get an alternate face. I don't know, I guess that could be seen as a good thing or a bad thing, depending upon your particular point of view. And then here are the spare or leftover parts for the Thanos Mech set, including a full extra set of Infinity Stones, or gems. Yes, except they're just plain tiles, so meh. I don't know, I still think they look cool, but probably the more interesting parts out of these are the plated gold pieces with the tile there and then a 1x1 cheese slope. So Lego wants us to pay $10 US for 152 pieces here with a figure, and I can't really argue with that. I think that that's a logical price for the size of the thing that you get, the volume of stuff that you actually get here. Relative to the size of a minifigure, and of course it does include a figure as well. I just feel like it's good, and the build process really helps to bolster that, to bolster the feeling of value here, because there are a lot of pieces. There is a fair amount of complexity to this. It feels like you get more than the number of pieces suggests. Certainly feels like you get more than the cost would suggest when you actually go through the process of putting this together. You can check out the builds for both of these sets. As usual, I've done my pure builds or actually pure build, did both in one video, just like I'm reviewing both in one video, which is in real time, and then the speed build is on the JANG Builds It channel, so you can check out those if you'd like to see just what I'm talking about regarding the complexity and all, because it's actually pretty cool. A lot of little pieces, but it adds up and it feels good to me. And both of these are pretty good. I think between the two, I like the... Now I'm going to have to go with the Thanos Mech because of the gauntlet and the color scheme. But if it didn't have the gauntlet, then I would go with this. But I'll probably leave off this cannon thing on the back. I feel like the builds for the legs and the arms, shoulders are cooler on this one. But the color scheme is better for the Thanos Mech. And ultimately, obviously, they're completely different characters. And most people will make decisions based on that, sooner than the builds themselves. As for the figures, I'll give this one an edge to be sure. I just feel like that's a better Iron Man figure in general than the Thanos figure is. But that might just be because I'm not a super fan of Marvel stuff and don't know enough about it. So that's pretty much all that I have to say about these. Hope you've enjoyed this look at these. If you want to stay on top of stuff that I do, be sure to check out my social media accounts. They've been flashing up on the screen. They're also in my video description. And know that you may not get notifications from YouTube anymore for at least some of my videos, and you definitely won't get the ability to comment on at least some of my videos. On some you will, on others you will not. It's not my fault. It's not the FTC's fault. It's not COPPA's fault. It's because of YouTube and their own decisions. It is what it is. We will adapt and we will overcome. So stay tuned for more content to come. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you again as soon as I can.